Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversation that includes respect for opinions, facts, and diversity. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeese Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rana Paint.
Welcome to Spokane Talks, news, views, and conversation. We premiere tonight on Fox 28, and as you know, primaries are approaching on August 7th. Ballots are in the mail. We kick off our first three programs with our Meet the Candidates series. Tonight, Ted Cummings and Matt Shea, both Washington 4th Legislative District in the Spokane Valley. In addition, you can find our programs on SpokaneTalksMedia.com and Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now meet the candidates.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler Attorneys.
Okay, welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this session is Ted Cummings, who is running for the 4th Legislative District, State Representative, Position 1. Welcome, Ted.
Thank you.
Just a casual conversation to get acquainted, and starting with, so tell me about where you grew up.
I grew up in Spokane on early years on the South Hill. I graduated from Gonzaga Prep, and then I went to SCC and got my AA.
What did you study at SCC?
Just liberal arts.
Just general
I planned to go on, but then life kind of got in the way, and that's as far as I went.
Yeah, well, you know, I had that conversation with my daughter. It's good to be able to check off that first box, and then you can do just fine.
Yeah.
So that was your early education. So what did you do with that? Where did life take you from there?
Well, actually, I wasn't planning on any education at all. I was going to be a cowboy, and out of high school, I started on working at a horse ranch, and ended up getting married. And my wife had a couple boys, and then the horse industry died out, and I had a wife and kids, and I needed a living wage job with health care. And the only place I could walk right in there was the mead smelter, and I became a steel worker in 1988.
Up in 88, let's see. You know, I actually was loaned out to the engineering department at Mead from the architecture firm I was working with, and I had 4 or 5 months there where I could wander through the mead smelter as long as I put on my hard hat and carried a clipboard. It's a fascinating place.
It was.
It was. Have you had a chance to do so? I want to go back to that work experience when, as a kid, like what was the first time you connected work and pay? I
had a paper route early on. I inherited my older brothers had a route, and then we just assumed it, and then mowed lawns. And at 16, I became a shipping clerk downtown at another business that no longer exists, Spokane Shaver, and worked there till I went to work for the horse ranch. So I've worked from probably 10 years old, I think.
Sorry about that.
That's
all
right.
Is that picking that up? My phone was off, but it has an alarm, and I'm on the volunteer fire department.
Well, that's more important than this conversation. So
I'm gonna just
if you need to respond, I'll wait.
It's fine. It's our neighboring district. Thank you for being flexible.
You bet.
Appreciate
I know
that.
what our priorities are. Someone's house is trouble. So.
Oh, it was informational. So back to the city. This is all about you, not about me.
Okay.
Have you had an opportunity to do any kind of travel that's given you some insights?
I was in a labor dispute in 1998, and I had to relocate. Well, I didn't have to, but I chose to relocate, and I went to upstate New York for 2.5 years and worked for Alcoa.
That's quite a shift.
It was a real experience, yeah. I also have my mother immigrated from Sweden, and my grandfather lived in Sweden, so I went over there several times and visited him in Sweden and really enjoyed that.
That's fun. Did your family maintain any of the Swedish language at home? Or?
We didn't. I didn't. I mean, I can say a few words, but that's it. And I regret that I didn't pick it up because Mom, obviously wanted us to, but I was.
Yeah, kids are always like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So So, are there some observations you had from those trips that have really kind of stuck with you as you look at problems here?
People are people. And I was in 3,000 miles away in a smelter, but all the people are the same. The names change and the faces change, but you still have all the same characters and all the same personalities. And wherever I went, on my travels over there, and I went to down south too, people are great wherever you are. That was the one thing I took away from it.
So you have a nice life going, and what is it that prompted you to step up and run for elected office? Not everybody does that.
Well, it's exactly that. I have the best life anyone could ever have, and I can't sit back at my ranch and think, well, I have everything, while I see my neighbors and fellow citizens, struggling, or what I perceive to be struggling, and I believe that I could help. And that's kind of pushed me into this. Yeah. Okay.
I think we're coming up on that time where it's your turn to answer the key question for every candidate.
Okay.
How do you see the duties of this elected office, and why should people vote for you and choose you for this office?
Well, I think the duties of this office should be that you represent all the people, not just the people that agree with you or your viewpoint. And that's what I want to do. I want to work collaboratively with all the representatives throughout the state, and I want to do the things that I believe Washington's done well in the past, and that's build things and grow things and ship things. And I've seen the meat smelter close, and I saw a mag plant up in Addy close, and I think it's a real shame that we've moved away from manufacturing in Washington. And I'd like to work to get our trade schools and our apprenticeship programs full and growing, and fill a need for skilled work out there that I believe exists. So that's how I see my role as a state representative.
Okay. Well, Ted, I appreciate you coming today, and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Spokane Talks. We have had the opportunity to be out here on the Z Nation set, but also we're excited at Spokane Talks. We have several shows, different genres, from real estate radio, Spokane Talks Live, Meet the Candidates, The Locker Room. We have several shows coming to you that can be found on all social media platforms, as well as coming up on Fox 28. Thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity being here at Z Nation set. Thank you.
Welcome to Meet the Candidate. My guest for this session is Matt Shea, who is currently serving the 4th Legislative District as representative in Position 1 and is running for re-election.
Sue Lonnie, thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming, Matt. And this is just an opportunity for folks to get to know each candidate as a person, and we just start with the real basics, like where did you grow up and go to school?
Well, I grew up in Spokane Valley, actually in Ponderosa. When we were about 10 years old, my brother and I, with our parents, moved over to Bellingham, Washington, went to Seaholm High School over there, and it was pretty interesting seeing that portion of the west side of the state. And as soon as possible, I moved back over here and went to Gonzaga University and went undergrad, and then graduated in the ROTC program, went in the Army for 10 years, and came back and went to law school and graduated with honors, and been serving the community ever since. And it's just a joy to live in this area, but also to call myself a Valley guy.
Okay, so you reclaimed your roots rather quickly then.
Indeed.
What were some of the things that you were most involved in school, both in here and at Seaholm?
Well, I ended up being a student body president actually at Assumption, which was a Catholic parochial school. And then I ended up going into baseball and playing baseball for Seaholm High School. Went to the state championship our senior year against our rival Mount Vernon. Unfortunately, we lost that. It's always kind of stuck with me. You only get one of those opportunities in life.
Athletes remember those things for a long time.
Right. Yeah, you remember every pitch almost, right? And that's how it works. But was involved really in sports, and then when I got into college, really involved with the military aspect of it, and competed in Ranger Challenge competitions.
What's the Ranger Challenge competition?
Well, Ranger Challenge was a myriad of events, including a 10-kilometer ruck run, literally a run with a backpack on, and also rope bridges and shooting and all of those kind of things, and just a great competition. And our year we won the championship at Gonzaga, and so that was kind of redemption for losing the state championship in high school, I guess.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a pitcher.
You were that's why you remember every pitch.
Yeah, so you do.
Just a little bit of that other direction.
A little bit more on this side maybe would have made a difference.
Yeah, it's hard to let go of those things sometimes. One of the things I like to ask folks about is their early work experience. Did you get an early job someplace?
I did, absolutely. I actually worked for Grizzly Imports. We worked in a warehouse, my brother and I again, and also did landscaping, and that's where I spent a lot of time working in my later teenage years and during college. Was doing landscaping and installing sprinkler systems and really getting my hands dirty. And one of the things I really learned about that was work ethic. You can't not learn work ethic when you're working outdoors, I think. And also on top of that, I learned the importance of allowing young people the opportunity to get into the workforce early. And unfortunately today there's a lot of barriers to that, and I think we need to remove those so young people can experience the same things that most of us did when we were kids.
Yeah, that's been a theme that a number of candidates have brought up. It's just that difficulty of getting those early work experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've with the 10 years in the Army, I'm sure that you've done some traveling around. Is there some travel experiences that have really stuck in your head?
Well, my favorite place traveling was Ireland. Interestingly enough, coming back overseas, you would go through Shannon Airport quite often, but I actually had an opportunity to stay in Ireland for a week and a half and travel around and learn the culture and the people. Fantastic, not just to say that the Shea family comes from there. We're a little biased maybe, but it was just a wonderful country. Also had the opportunity to travel in Eastern Europe, obviously in the Middle East where I served, and in Bosnia. And what really impressed me in those areas of the country was how people were very resilient despite tremendous adversity. And it also made me appreciate America all the more, the things that we have here that don't exist in a lot of other places in the world.
When you were traveling in Eastern Europe, which countries were you?
Well, specifically Ukraine. My wife is from Ukraine, came to this country fleeing religious persecution, and it was very interesting to see the places where the underground church actually met in the woods, trying to avoid the KGB agents that were hunting them down, to see where some of the Christians had been taken to be interrogated, and then talk to some of the people that had actually been imprisoned themselves. So that was just a fascinating experience.
Yeah, I got to travel in the Baltics and visited the KGB Museum in Vilnius, Lithuania. That's a really kind of a haunting experience to really, when you see how that had affected people for so long.
Yeah, and how intentional it was. I think a lot of us think that sometimes maybe it's just a lack of education, but sometimes it's hard to understand that those folks actually did that intentionally. It was methodical, and
the
caution
part.
tale for us. Yeah.
It is. What prompted you to first volunteer for elected office?
Well, I came back from overseas in 2005 and saw there was some pretty dramatic changes in the country that were happening that were kind of startling to me. And being away from the country for a year and a half, first part of it through training and then actual service overseas, it really stood out to me. And, I talked to a lot of people, prayed about it, and felt led to take up the mantle and run and champion the values that I believe a lot of servicemen not just sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears for, but lost friends for as well.
Okay. I think this is a good point to just go to that last question, which is how do you see the duties of this elected office, and why should voters choose you?
Well, state representative is just a wonderful opportunity to allow the values, tradition, culture, and heritage and beliefs of a geographic area to really be promoted and defended over in Olympia. And I see really the duty of any elected official to uphold the Constitution of the United States, to protect the unalienable rights of life, liberty, property, and the ability to defend the same. And I believe those rights come from God. I've stood unwaveringly on those principles for 10 years, and now as the House Republican Caucus Chair, It's been an honor to take that to the next level as a member of leadership. And I think that allowing Spokane Valley that voice at that level in Olympia has really changed things for the better, and particularly changed the conversation to focus more on what has really been neglected in past conversations in Olympia, and that is rural Washington and the issues we care about.
And the 4th Legislative District is Spokane Valley and kind of what the general...
Green Bluff, Liberty Lake. So it's essentially Costco to the Idaho border, south to the mountains, and then up to Green Bluff.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us in the studio today, Matt, and thank you and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you, Sulani.
You've met these candidates. Now it's time to get those ballots in the mail. And don't forget, all of the interviews are on our website at SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a publisher of a magazine? Find out from an industry professional next on Business Talks. Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here in the studio with Amber McKenzie, both the publisher and owner of Natural Awakenings magazine of the Inland Northwest. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us about the origins of the magazine and how you got to the point where you're at today.
Sure. So it's a long story, but I'll make it brief. Basically, the magazine itself is in 80 markets in the U.S. And prior to me purchasing this market, the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area, I was in international education. I traveled for a living. I worked internationally. I worked for Gonzaga for 13 years. It was a great position. But as I kind of grew up at Gonzaga, I had a family and I have 2 kids. And so I decided I needed to make a career change. And then after the death of my mom in 2016, I kind of had an epiphany that I needed a definite change.
Right.
And this magazine came to me through my sister, who bought the magazine in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when I saw the magazine, I thought, wow, this is amazing. It's natural, holistic, health and wellness, sustainability, eco-living, mindfulness, all the things that I really was drawn toward.
Well, and I think as you've indicated, these are all variables that I think you'd acquired with your travel experience in Japan and Brazil, and matching that up with the passing of your mom, it seems like almost that fit was a perfect match.
It was. It couldn't have been more perfect, and I would have never anticipated it for myself, but I love it. I love doing it, and it's challenging in all the right ways.
Well, as I say, nothing worth doing is without challenges.
Exactly.
You had indicated the various markets throughout the United States. What type of distribution is here in our area?
Sure. So I print 10,000 every month, and I distribute to Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, all the way up to Sandpoint, and everywhere in between. And then it's about a readership of 22,000
And
every
right
month.
now, on a shoestring, you are distributing yourself.
Yes, I do it all.
Yeah, you are the distribution yourself. But
Yes.
but I think there's a quality there, that tangible, hands-on, knowing who your customers are.
Yes.
And who you're collaborating with.
Exactly. I'm very connected to everyone that I work with, and it's been great. It's been great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's take a short break and come right back. And I want to talk about how you make a magazine that is in diverse markets throughout the United States, how you make that local, and how you make Natural Awakenings here in the Pacific Northwest resonate for folks here in our market. So
Sure.
We'll come right back, talk more about that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
The economy is getting stronger, banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler Attorneys.
Welcome back to Business Talks, and we're here in the studio with Amber. And right before the break, we were talking about how you make this magazine local. Mm-hmm. How do you make this resonate with our local audience?
Yes. So I do that with my partners and advertisers. Mm-hmm. And every magazine published in the U.S. is different. Even though we have content that comes from the main office, it's really strong, wonderful content, well-researched. Every publisher makes it local to their area through their letter from publisher, which is, every month in the front of the magazine. We also have news briefs, which are short kind of vignettes about what's going on in the holistic community in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Those are really well read. Lots of great feedback on those. I also have health briefs, which I will encourage partners to write for me if they have a new therapy or something that they think readers need to be educated on.
But I think that collaboration allows folks to pick the themes that work for them.
Yes.
And I think, as you'd indicated, these smaller size vignettes are in sizes that folks can get through it in their busy days and move on to the next piece.
Yeah, they're digestible.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to say it.
And then we also have, of course, advertisements, which are, holistic wellness related advertisements. And then we have a farmer's market guide. So that's throughout the farmer's market season. I have that in every issue.
Right.
And then we have sidebars and articles by local practitioners. We have a calendar in the very back that is both kind of a monthly calendar and an ongoing calendar that people look to for wellness-related events. And finally, what I love the most is the community resource guide in the back, which is almost like a yellow pages for holistic providers in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area.
Well, and I think as you're indicating, that's where that collaboration, networking, it's become a directory of individuals that are looking for these particular needs. It's all right there. And I think it's very consistent because wouldn't you agree that each particular publication has the same structure?
Yes. Every publication has it, so people know exactly where to go to find the information that they want. But a lot of my readers say they read it cover to cover.
Well, as they should.
Yeah, as they should.
Well, and on that note, where can folks find you?
Oh, yes. I am in most conventional grocery stores in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area. And then I also am in acupuncture offices, chiropractic offices, functional medicine offices. So a variety of kind of alternative health offices in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area.
Amber, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeese Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rada Paint. We'll be back next week with additional news, views, and conversations. Please join us. So long for now.